Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hallmark Guy Podcast. I am Baptiste, the Hallmark Guy, and I'm back with a new 2026 Hallmark Channel movie recap and review. Before we get started, we just got out of the big winter storm, I think Fern, and it's still really cold here in the Kansas City area. And I mean, it's winter, and I thought it would be good to show you my big, comfy sweater, Hallmark comfy sweatshirt, hoodie, however you want to call it, that says King Baptiste, or Baptist, however you want to pronounce it. Hallmark fan number one. I thought with the winter storm, no better day to record wearing it than right now. I'm also having on my lap, so I don't have the heater on that makes noise. I have my Hallmark blanket that says like this is my Hallmark watching blanket with my name on it. You can't see it, but it's on my lap. But anyway, we are here to talk about a new 2026 Hallmark Channel movie, Caught by Love, which premiered on Saturday, January 24th, 2026, at 8/7 Central on Hallmark Channel as part of Winter Escape, movie number 4 of Winter Escape. Can't believe we only have one left. I mean, we have 5 this year. Can't believe we're already almost done with January. It's the final week of January. It's insane. The movie starred Rachel Lee Cook and Luke McFarlane. I was really happy to see Rachel in another Hallmark movie. I was scared we were gonna lose her in a way because I know she's made movies for Netflix. She has a deal. She signed a deal with Fox Mar Vista. So I was happy to see her again. I thought last year after Sisterhood Inc. Maybe it was her last one. So happy to see her again. I actually interviewed her last fall for my job. I am the editor in chief of my college's student media, and there was supposed to be an event with her and Freddie Prinze Jr. about She's All That, their movie from the 90s. Well, the event didn't end up happening, but they were scheduled to do it, and I was fortunate and lucky enough to interview them. It was my first big interview, first time I interviewed stars, and it was really insane for me. I was so happy and felt so grateful. And she was really, really nice. I had a great time interviewing her. So if she ever sees that, Rachel, I would love to interview you for this podcast. You probably won't see it, but I would love to interview you for the podcast. And I was happy to see Luke back. His first Hallmark movie since Crime Time Freefall, which premiered in February 2024, so almost 2 years ago. Which makes me wonder. I mean, was a time when Hallmark was doing a lot of mysteries and started what could be future mystery series, and I mean they never followed it, and we don't actually know really what's the state of Hallmark mystery right now. So it made me think about that. But I actually didn't think about that movie. I thought his last Hallmark movie was Catch Me If You Claws, which premiered in November 2023. Which it premiered on Hallmark. I'm not sure. I'm kind of like 99% sure Hallmark didn't produce that movie and kind of bought it at the last after it was produced because it was filmed differently. Didn't feel Hallmarky, even though it was a really good movie. Didn't feel Hallmarky, and it was right after the strike, so they probably took movies that they could. So yeah, but anyway, we're not here to talk about that. I was happy to see both of them back. But without further ado, let's talk about Caught by Love. So the movie starts with Annie, played by Rachel, getting to some sort of wellness resort in Malta, but they do not find her reservation because it is under her friend's name, Joanna. Her friend was supposed to come, but she couldn't at the last minute, so Annie took her place and her luggage, like all of her things. Everything she brought is not hers. But she's not used to that kind of resort and even kind of luxury. We were introduced to multiple patrons, like Jake, played by Luke, or so we think that he's a patron, as well as hotel worker, or so we think again, Lara. We'll later learn that Jake and Laura are working together. Annie is really friendly and learns everyone's name. We notice that there is something weird about Jake and Laura, and we learn that they are private investigators investigating the theft of jewels from the Met. Jake received an anonymous tip that someone at the resort was going to buy it. So we follow Annie and Jake in the resort's activities, Annie is having a tough time getting used to aerial yoga, which leads to really funny scenes. And at some point, she sees Jake entering a room that is not his. So she follows him, and that is when he has to tell her about the real reason that he's at the resort. Annie is going to be interested in this whole thing and want to help Jake. So they first think about couple Caroline and Peter. But after following them for a while, it is not them. So they're going to continue their investigation, and at the same time, sparks are going to fly between them. Annie's even going to go solo at some point, thinking she found the person on a yacht. She hears a discussion about someone paying for something with them on the yacht, and the person notices, and then we see Luke learning that Jake, sorry, learning that she went after that guy. So Jake is gonna learn that and run, and the Yoda has left the port, so he's going to jump in the sea, go after, but actually thinking Annie's in danger, but actually she's just fine, and the guy just spot a yacht that has nothing to do. Yacht is actually how you say it in French, but yeah, that actually had nothing to do with the jewels. So Jake is going to get mad at Annie and tells her that she can't help anymore. She should just enjoy the rest of the time at the resort and kind of leave him to do the work. Joanna is finally going to be able to join Annie at the resort and talk to Annie about her future. Annie wanted to go to law school when she was younger, but she had to give up that dream, and now she's thinking about going. At the end of the week, they have a party, and at that party, Annie and Jake reconnect and figure out both at the same time. And there's Jake is in his office, Annie's at the party. Figure out that the person who is going to buy the jewels is the kind of guru that is running the place. They go after him and they get caught, but one of the patrons is actually an FBI agent and saves them. So the guy is arrested. He just wanted to buy the jewels because he liked them. Annie and Jake get talking, and Jake apologizes and thanks Annie for her help. For her help. He also learned that the tip came from another patron, Rebecca, who kept complaining about love and had weird demands, like this soup is too hot, bring it to the kitchen and like cool it down instead of just waiting. She actually is the guru's ex, so she kind of wanted to make him pay. Jake tells Annie that she will get a big cut, enough to help with the law school tuition, and they kiss, and that was Caught by Love. So, as usual, we're going to start with what worked for me, and what really worked for me is Rachel. Like I talked about, I interviewed her a few months ago, and I've always been a fan ever since my first time watching her. And I think the very first time I really noticed who she was in Tis the Season to Be Married. But I've seen, I think, most of her Hallmark movies. I think I have two Vineyard ones to watch. I've seen the first one and I have the two other ones, but I think I must have seen all the other Hallmark movies that she's made. And I really like her, and like I said, I love interviewing her, so I feel like I have that kind of connection with her. But what I like is Rachel has an impeccable comedic timing. One thing when I was writing my whole thing, preparing for the podcast, I went back, I record all the movies, even though I have Hallmark Plus, it's easier to go back faster on some scenes to know when to know what happened. And so Rachel has that comedic timing. And one thing I know, I one of the things I saw again was when Jake tells Annie that Lara is not actually a hotel worker, she works with him. She's like, "Oh, that's why I never had towels in my room." And that's just a small line, but she has a special delivery, a comedic delivery that works, make it memorable. And there are so many other moments in the movie like that. So I really like it. I really like the character that she plays. I like her acting and the comedic timing that she brings to those roles in those movies. So that really worked for me. That really made it enjoyable for me. Another thing I liked was once it got started, it was interesting to follow. I mean, I love the Hallmark mysteries. You know, you like when there's always a mystery and kind of like an investigation. You kind of get into that, and you kind of get you jump into the story, and you're kind of like, oh, who it is, and you follow all that. So once it got started and we really got into the investigation and them going after people, it was interesting to follow. So I liked it. I liked the setting also. It was a great place. You could see it was shot during warm months, which makes me wonder, like, when did they shot it? When I interviewed Rachel in September, had she already shot the movie? All kind of that. So that worked for me. What I did not like, and we're going to circle back to once it got going, is that it took a very long time to get started. Um, I noticed, so when the movies premiere on Hallmark Channel on premiere night, the first commercial break is not a real commercial break; it's just like a preview of the next week's movie. So in that time, so it's longer when they air again, but and without commercials when you watch it on Hallmark Plus, it's shorter. But on the first airing, we really get the words, I'm a private investigator and I'm investigating the theft of all that. We really, even though we kind of figure it out, but they really finally tell us what's going on 36 minutes in. So for the first 36 minutes of the of the premiere, it was really slow to get going and very, which made it hard for me to get into the movie, to get interested. And maybe that also made it difficult, even though, like I said, it was interesting when it started going and you kind of have the investigation. It took so long to, get started that for the whole movie, I was interested, but not also, wow, that's amazing. I'm so into this movie. So it really got, because I even told myself right before they finally told us I'm a private investigator and all that, told myself, I wish they would tell us what's really going on, because you get the idea, but you don't really know what the movie's trying to do, what's going on. So yeah, that kind of made it difficult for me to get into it at first and to get into it for the whole movie, because it took so long to get started and finally tell us what's going on. And at the beginning, we have that weird introduction of all the patrons. Like, they all have small scenes with the camera, like jumping to them around the pool, and like we see them doing activities. You have the influencer, you have the couple, and you're like, why are we doing this now? Once they finally tell you what's going on, you're like, okay, those are kind of like the suspects. But at the same time, you're like, what is happening? I even told myself, there's a chance they're doing this for nothing, because they're just showing people, because maybe I had the wrong idea about with Love on the Amazon the week before, with the patron on the boat with the same actress that plays in the Hannah Swenson mystery. They introduced her and then we never saw her again. I was like, hopefully they are not doing that, but that's what crossed my mind. And so when you don't really know what's going on, and at the time it's like not even like maybe it's 5 minutes into the movie, you don't know what's going on, and you have that kind of weird introduction and jump to all the characters, and like, that's weird. That made it really weird for me. Yeah, and also I did not get into the movie with the right idea about the movie. In my mind, and I don't know why, because of Love on the Amazon the week before and then missing the boat the next week, I thought the whole thing, they're going to take a boat at some point and they will be on the boat. I mean, she's on a yacht at some point, but I thought, oh, okay, the resort is just to get us started, and it was like, okay, when are they getting out of the resort? And no, the setting is the resort. So I had the wrong idea at first. So that's also maybe what didn't help. Yeah, some things to point out. I don't really know what to think about Luke in that role. Not saying he wasn't good. Luke is a good actor. I like him. I don't know. At first, when he's taking pictures of the birds and then to kind of hide the fact that he's taking pictures of the couple, the picture thing didn't really work for me, and I don't know why. But I'm not saying he wasn't convincing as a PI, but I don't know. There was something I was like, I don't know about him in that role. Not saying anything about his acting. He was good, but we've seen him. I don't know. I felt a little weird. Even though we're watching, it's like he's a good actor in the PI scenes, but I don't know. The camera thing did weird for me. But I mean, it's his second consecutive kind of PI police role for Hallmark, with Crime Time, Freefall being his last work movie before that. So that's interesting. Nothing against his acting. Again, it's just I don't know. I don't know what to think about that. So final thoughts. It was okay. Definitely better than Love on the Amazon, but I'm wondering if it will be hard to beat at how much I didn't like. Now I just jinxed it. And there will be other movies. No, but yeah, I don't know. And I mean, there's a chance Love and the Amazon ends up at the lowest rated movie um, of the year with 1 star, which is exactly what happened with another Winter Escape movie last year that I'm now just going back to get the name, which was kind of like also, I think, the fourth Winter Escape movie. My Argentine Heart, which was the actually the third Winter Escape movie. Moved on to the fourth. Next year will be the fifth. I don't know, but I think who also just got 1 star last year, and which was my worst ranking of Hallmark movies. So the Resistance, Love, and the Amazon will end up being the same. Just checking. Yeah, I get 1 star. So definitely better than Love on the Amazon, but far from how good Lost in Paradise and the Melbourne match were. Still, thought I could not give it less than 3 because it was still interesting, and maybe I need to rewatch it, being in the right mindset, knowing what to expect and knowing what's going on. Maybe it will change. So I thought I can't give it less than 3 because it wasn't bad. I just didn't get fully into it. The second half of Winter Escape is not very good. It started so well. We were spoiled at the beginning. But yeah, the last two haven't been that good compared to how good the first two were. And I mean, compared to how usually I do not like Winter Escape, because again, I'm not a big fan of movies that take place internationally unless it's a fake European monarchy. So it's not as good. This one wasn't as bad as on the Amazon. I have hopes for Missing the Boat. I mean, we have two huge leads with Christopher Pola and Emily Lorup. Hopefully, I said that right. And it could lead to funny situations. Seeing the trailer, I was like, hope we could get into some funny scenes. So I have hopes. Hopefully, I didn't jinx it. But yeah, maybe it will go back up for Winter Escape for the final week. But yeah, even though okay movie, I don't think it's going to be a memorable one and not one that would say, oh, I want to rewatch. So yeah, that is all for Caught by Love. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the movie. Please like, subscribe. I don't like doing this, but I mean, it helps the channel. Tell me what you thought in the comment. Follow the Instagram at the Hallmark Guy Podcast. I post clips on there and other special Instagram videos. Like I did a video with winter movie recommendations for when we were all stuck at home with the storm last week. I did a special video with the release date about Nelly Knows Mysteries, March 14th. I'm so excited about that. So yeah, follow me on there. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye!